Breaking: Sean Spicer barricades himself in White House office after resigning as press secretary. Sean Spicer has resigned as White House press secretary. The move came just moments after President Trump offered New York financier Anthony Scaramucci the job of communications director. Spicer is vacating his position just 6 months and 1 day after he first stood at the podium and made his controversial remarks about the size of President Trump's inauguration crowd. The New York Times was the first to report the news of Spicer's resignation. Spicer managed to stay on the job for more than 6 months despite predictions for months that he was on the way out. He delivered the news to President Trump Friday morning. ABC News reporter Jonathan Karl tweeted Friday that he went to ask Spicer about the Scaramucci news and that Spicer slammed the door in his face. Another sign of tension: Spicer was not even present when Trump gave an interview to the New York Times Wednesday where the president lashed out at investigators. The only press aide present was longtime press advisor Hope Hicks. Spicer was furious about the slight, New York Magazine reported. Spicer is a longtime Republican operative who has been subjected to ridicule on Saturday Night Live for some of his strenuous efforts to defend the president. He had already taken a major step back from public view. White House briefings in recent weeks have typically been held off-camera, and mostly by his deputy, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Even Spicer's most recent briefing was conducted off-camera. His departure came after weeks of turmoil over the Russia investigation. Trump is also shaking up his legal team, as longtime attorney Mark Kasowitz steps back as head of the effort to defend him against Russia-related charges. Spicer had been filling in as acting communications director while maintaining his press secretary job following the departure of Mike Doug, who cited personal reasons for his departure just a few months into the job. Spicer's job was a challenge from day one, when he sparred with reporters over the president's claims of the size of his inaugural crowd. Spicer gained instant notoriety for making a claim that was easily contradicted by photographic evidence. This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe. Spicer fights with reporters on use of ban in Trump tweet. His abrupt resignation came as details were emerging about the process that led to the arrival of his new communications superior. In typical Trump White House fashion, the hiring had involved multiple streams of information and influence, outside a direct chain. White House advisor Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, put the plan in motion, pushing hard for Scaramucci's hiring. Chief of Staff Reince Priebus was blindsided by the move and found out about it after plans were already in motion. Spicer ran press for the RNC when Priebus was chairman during the 2016 election cycle. Priebus told CNN he supported Scaramucci 100%, an indication that Priebus intends to try to keep his position. Although the move had been forecast for weeks, it stunned official Washington, as reporters swarmed the White House briefing room. In an image typical of Spicer's tenure, they crowded outside the lower press area and footage was carried on cable networks live. Over months of his own political death watch, it often fell to Spicer to defend the president. "I think the president is very pleased with his team and he has a robust agenda," Spicer said in late May after one of many reports of an imminent shake-up. "Ultimately the best messenger is the president himself," Spicer said. "He's always proven that he is the best messenger not just for what he wants to articulate but that the American people resoundingly chose him as their president, because he understands the frustrations and concerns and values of the American people and he is probably the best person to communicate that." The president was known to watch Spicer's briefings closely and had become heavily critical. Lines of authority were also an issue. Under the situation that was about to take shape, Spicer would have been reporting by title to Scaramucci, who has no experience running a communications operation. Scaramucci's role would have been to be as a primary force on TV defending the president. But with many of his briefing responsibilities also stripped away, Spicer's role would be greatly diminished.